Back Travels. We're doing a series on romance versus reality.
We're going to talk about Sweden today.
Today's Sweden. Okay, so what we want to talk about is what you pictured going into Sweden as opposed to what the reality of Sweden was. Now, for me, what I pictured was cold.
Everybody pictures cold when they think about Sweden. Sweden's cold.
And especially because we went for 3 months. We were there January, February, March. So we were in there in the dead of winter. But what I will tell you is we came out of Sweden better. I mean, what we expected was what we got was better than what we expected.
Than what we anticipated, yeah.
Yes. And if you haven't put Sweden on your bucket list, this video is going to tell you put Sweden on your bucket list because it is a great place to visit. And I went there, I was drawn to go to Sweden because my family and my ancestry is from Sweden. And I've always wanted to go to Sweden just because that's where, my roots are from. I didn't know anything about it other than that it's cold. But when we got there, it's like I fell in love with Sweden. I mean, it's a beautiful country. As far as nature goes, I mean, you can see we've got our videos showing here. You can see the lakes. There's so many lakes.
Blue skies.
How many lakes are there, first
There's
of all?
a lot of lakes. They say there's one lake for every day of the year. So you won't be a shortage on lakes. That's
360 sure. At least lakes. I can't tell you exactly how many, but there's so many lakes. I think my cousin, we actually ended up meeting a living relative from Sweden because it's just a miraculous.
It wasn't a chance meeting. We actually hunted him down.
Yes,
we went to the property, and then the property led us here, and the property led us there.
We contacted somebody. They helped us find a living relative, and then once we found the living relative, they were so friendly and just outgoing. They took us around. I got to see my family heritage where they grew up, and they took us around my family hometown, and then they just introduced us to so many things in Sweden. But even if you don't meet a relative there, you need to go to Sweden because the forest, the lakes, the art. I mean, everywhere you go,
lots of art.
It's art. They make art out of cut down trees in the forest. They will carve a statue or something out of the wood that's left from the stump.
They'll come across a rock painted like a magic mushroom.
They'll paint a rock.
Or you'll be walking down the street and there's the Three Bears chairs. They have the big one, the medium one, and the little one, just out in the street.
They're very creative people, and they invent. I think one of the most impressive things about Sweden is their inventions. They invent their art, their transportation. People in Sweden do not complain about their government because they get their money's worth. Their transportation system is, I mean, you can't compare it to anywhere else. You can get from any city to another city in Sweden. If you don't have a car, don't worry. There's trains, there's subway, trams, there's buses. You can get around in Sweden without a car. We didn't have a car there. Bicycles, everybody bicycles. You talk about Amsterdam for bicycles, but Sweden is second to Amsterdam as far as bicycles go. People are bicycling all over the place there. We rented a bike, $10 a day for a bicycle.
It's krones.
They have their own currency.
Yeah.
So they have their own currency, but don't worry. If you go to Sweden, you don't need cash. They will take your debit card, credit card. In fact, most places don't even take cash. So you would want to have a debit card or credit card.
One of our favorite things to do was the Swedish coffee break.
The fika.
The fika, right. You can go into a bakery I think it's like traditionally like a 3 hour coffee break where you have a cappuccino or a couple cappuccinos, you have a cup of tea and a pastry, and
and it's really
you
good.
just bond with the people you're with.
One of the things that I
Chit-chat.
did not expect, as a pastry chef, Daniel's a chef, I'm a pastry chef. One of the things we did not expect was the food to be that good. But the bakeries are second to France. They are that good. And we'd be walking around and it's cold. You know, it gets cold there in the winter. And their winters are like 6 months of the year. I mean, we were there January, February, March. We left in early April and it was snowing when we got on the plane. So it snows quite a bit there. Now, keep in mind, we did cover the southern part of Sweden. The northern part of Sweden we did not go to. That's even colder there. If you're a die-hard cold person fan, you would want to go to the northern part of Sweden, which we definitely want to go back and visit. Has dog sledding, the ice hotel. We didn't get to go to that.
The Northern Lights.
And the Northern Lights. So you definitely want to try to make a trip there. But if you're a nature person, Sweden is beautiful. I mean, there's nothing, the forest there, the lakes, there's just, you have to go to Sweden to see it for yourself. But when we were out walking and watching the people skiing and or sledding or no, what is it? Ice skating. Ice skating on the lakes. We got our first lake ice skating experience. We're not snow people. We're from Texas. But we got to walk on the lakes that were iced over for the first time in our life. We got to see ice fishing.
Yeah, the guy, he just walks up. He had his skate attachment in his backpack, strapped him onto his regular shoes, and skated across this lake that was at least, 5 kilometers long,
And you can go,
like, what?
Yeah, you can go to our YouTube and see the ice skater that we got to see.
Crazy.
Yeah, and it was like,
it's common. It's very common.
Very common. This is everyday life for them. But there's so much to experience in Sweden. I mean, the shops there, the shopping is.
Sunsets are amazing. The sunrises are amazing. We saw a couple of them. It's just the sky is big and beautiful.
But the art is just out of this world. And the cities are just so picturesque. Everything, if you're driving, if you do rent a car there, don't worry. It's so inexpensive. Now, we won't say that Sweden is inexpensive, but renting a car is inexpensive. But if you do go to Sweden, don't think it's like it's a budget place. It's not the cheapest place to go, but it's definitely, you get your money's worth from it if you do go to Sweden. Don't think you're going to go there to get the cheapest deals, but what you do get is worth your money. And it isn't like extremely out of control expensive. It's just that it's not. What am I trying to say?
I'm not sure, but the language, you can't really expect to learn Swedish right away.
But no fear, because everybody speaks English.
Everybody speaks English,
and their English is excellent. Yes. Excellent English. So you can figure out your way. We figured out the train system in one day. We figured out how to get around because you can make out the words. They're clear enough.
Kind of figure it out. After you've been there a while, you can kind of figure it out.
And then
to sum it up, though, I think Sweden is a beautiful place that you should go if you have the opportunity to go.
We recommend going to Sweden. Bakeries.
Keep in mind, it's cold.
Yes.
If
you go in the winter, we do recommend May, June, or August. July is when the Swedish people actually take a 2-week vacation themselves. They go within their country to
camping and stuff.
So you don't probably want to go in July, but you definitely want to go May, June, or August, or September. But we went January, February, March, and we still had a good time. I mean, it's beautiful there. It's always beautiful in Sweden. So definitely put that on your bucket list and make a trip to Sweden if you can. Everything is so picturesque. The red barns, the red houses. We got to stay in a lot of Airbnbs in Sweden as well, and they were the best Airbnbs. We got to stay in really cute little guest houses and uh, what do you call them, lofts and little small houses. And we got to go to islands, stay on little islands that are off the Baltic Sea. It's surrounded by seas. Sweden is actually bigger than you imagine. It's surrounded by water. There's lakes, seas, everything. But you definitely want to try Sweden. It's the best place to go, and I would definitely go back. And we will probably go back to visit the northern part of Sweden.
Like Francis said, if it's not on your bucket list, go ahead and put it on there. I think it's back on. I think it's on mine now.
It's on ours.
I do want to go back.
Yes.
I would definitely go back. So thanks for joining us.
Romance versus reality, Sweden, thumbs up.
Two thumbs up.
The reality of Sweden is even better than the romantic picture that you have in your head of it. So try it. See what you think.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
For now.
Ciao, ciao.